What's up everyone, this is Wasim from the Tech Boys, and I have a battle between the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and the LG built Google Nexus 4. The Note 2 is built by Samsung while the Nexus 4 is built by LG. I'm going to go ahead and put them head to head and see which one comes out on top. The first round is going to be our design round, so let's go ahead and take a look around both devices. The Note 2 has a 5.5-inch display with a resolution of 720 by 1280. Again, pixel density isn't going to be as high compared to the Nexus 4, which has a 4.7-inch display with a resolution of 720 by 1280. So same resolution, but smaller display means, higher pixel density. So you can definitely see that, or I can see that, is that screen is, or the text and the clarity of the display is much nicer on the Nexus 4 compared to the Note 2. Build quality wise, the Galaxy Note 2 is built out of plastic, so just like a lot of other Samsung devices, it's a plastic build. You do have a removable back cover, which is really nice on the Note 2 with a removable battery, as well as a memory card, so you can put up to an additional 64 gigs, and this device has 16 gigs built in, a 1.4 gigahertz quad-core processor, and 2 gigs of RAM. With the Nexus 4, it's built on glass on the front and back, so you do get glass on front and back with a plastic edge. So build quality wise, I think the Nexus 4 is built a little bit nicer. It feels more premium. There's also a really nice effect on the back. It does need a direct light to hit it, so I'm gonna try to show you guys. I don't know if you see it there. We do see a kind of glittery effect. You might like it, you might not. I think it's pretty cool, so that's really nice on the Nexus 4. They both have 8 megapixel cameras, and they're both running Android. And the Nexus 4 has a 1.5 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro and 2 gigs of RAM. Memory is only 8 gig or 16 gig with no expandable slot. Price wise, the Note 2 is $300 on contract on many carriers, and the full retail price I believe is $650. The Nexus 4 is available through the Google Play Store for $300 and $350 for an 8 gig or 16 gig. No contract required. I believe T-Mobile does offer it on contract for $200, so a little bit cheaper, as well as the off contract price is 50% cheaper than the Note 2. So build quality, I like the Nexus 4. The screen, I do prefer on the Nexus 4 as well. It's an IPS display and not AMOLED. So you do get more accurate colors. But with the Note 2, it's more saturated, so the darks or the blacks come out a little bit black. It's more deep colors on the Note 2, so colors appear more brighter. Blacks seem more black. But as far as accuracy, the Nexus 4 is a little bit better on that end. Software-wise, they're both running Android. The Nexus 4 is Android 4.2, so it's the newest version. With the Note 2, it's Android 4.1, but you do get Samsung's custom skin, so this is a pure Android phone with no software overlays. With the Note 2, it's a little bit different. You do get specific Samsung widgets and how the operating system works. So if I pull down the notification tray on both, you can see that you do get a little bit more options. As far as changing, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. You do have a similar option on the Nexus 4, but you do have to go in a separate menu, which is on the top right. And then you can change a little bit more on this side, or you can pull down with 2 fingers to get to that menus. So there we go. Again, speed-wise, both very fast. I feel like the Nexus 4 is a little bit faster just because there aren't any custom skins over it. It's using all its power to just run stock Android. With the Galaxy Note 2, because it's running Samsung's TouchWiz, it has to drive more information. But even at the end, it's still very fast. I haven't seen any lag on this device. And let me just show you guys both operating systems, just how they work, stock versus Samsung's custom. So you can see even the app menu is a little bit different. You do get on-screen buttons for home, recent apps, and back. The Note 2 has a home button, a menu button, as well as a back button. So Samsung is still keeping the old gingerbread menu button with the Nexus 4. Google's trying to eliminate that. So both are very highly customizable. You do get a really nice feature with the Note 2. It's called multi-window. So you can actually have two running applications side by side. So I can have Google Maps open, and then I can go ahead and, let me just zoom out. There we go. And I can go back in here, and I can add the web browser on half of it. So you get multi-window because of the bigger screen, and that's Samsung's own customization that they have added. So that's really cool that you get to do. Other things like S-Beam, pop-up play, that's all featured on the Note 2, as well as Smart Stay. The Nexus 4 really doesn't have anything like that. There's really nothing that the Nexus 4 can do that the Note 2 can't do. It's just if you prefer stock Android. Personally, I do prefer stock Android. You do get that with the Nexus 4. Next, let's talk about performance. So both phones have quad-core processors, so I mean, speed-wise, they're very similar. I'm just going to go ahead and open the web browser and load up a few websites just to show you guys the performance. We're going to open up phonearena.com. So here I have Phone Arena queued up on both devices. I'm just going to open them at the same time. And keep in mind the Note 2 is on LTE while the Nexus 4 is on only HSPA+. So that's a really nice advantage that you get on the Galaxy Note 2. That you get those higher data speeds when you're, not on Wi-Fi and you're on the network itself. So Note 2 is done. But you can see even HSPA is it's not that bad. Pinch to zoom is very smooth on the Note 2. And then there is a slight lag on Chrome for Android. I don't know if that's a Chrome issue or a Nexus 4 issue, but I've heard similar things with other Chrome devices. So it could be just a Chrome issue that will be updated, but it's still pretty good, very smooth, and nice and fast. And even you can tell on the screen that the colors appear a little bit nicer on the Nexus 4 compared to the Note 2. So speed-wise, probably the Note 2 is a little bit faster thanks to that quad-core processor. You also get LTE, like I said, that can drive information a little bit faster. Next thing I'm going to talk about battery life. Battery life goes to the Note 2. Just it lasts a whole day with no problem. With the Nexus 4, I do struggle to get a full day with moderate use. So definitely keep that in mind when you're trying to decide between both devices. Call quality, earpiece is clearer, speaker is nicer on the Note 2. So LG definitely needs to step it up as far as the speaker and the earpiece. Samsung is definitely a much nicer experience when calling. Now the Note 2 also has a really nice feature called the S Pen. So the S Pen lets you take notes with this device. It uses Wacom technology, so it's not a capacitive stylus. It uses a proprietary software that utilizes this device. So you can say hello. So it's a little bit more accurate, more pressure sensitive with the Note 2, and you can do a lot of cool things. You can, crop certain parts of the display by pressing the button on the pen. So I can go ahead and circle this part out, and it's going to crop it out for me, which is really cool, and it can save it. You can also double tap to make a quick note, or even in the gallery. Let me just open this up real quick. So with the gallery, if I hover over it, it actually gives me a preview of each one. So that's really cool that you can do with the S Pen. So overall, you can utilize it. Personally, I don't use the S Pen as much. I just use the phone itself as a phone. But if you do find that advantage really nice, and that's a pretty cool thing that you can do on the Galaxy Note 2. Alright, now let's talk about cameras. They both have 8 megapixel sensors. I'll go ahead and include some samples between both. They're both pretty similar. I'm going to go ahead and let you be the judge. Let me just show you a little bit about the camera. Let's pull out this pen. One thing you get really cool, a nice cool feature you do get with the Nexus 4. It's called Photosphere, and what Photosphere is you can stitch a bunch of pictures together to make a Google Street-like view. So if you ever use Street View and how you can, move around and navigate the Street View area, is the same thing with the Photosphere. So I mean, you've probably seen it before, so I'm not going to demonstrate it, but you do get that instead. I also really like the UI for the camera, so you can press and then you can change the settings like turn on flash and do all your um, effects as well. The Note 2, I think that Note 2 is a little bit more user friendly for non-techie people. So it's just very basic as far as, adding your effects or just changing the brightness as well as turning on the flash because it's just there for you to use. The Note 2, if I gave this to a random person to change it, they probably would be a little bit more confused. But I mean, for techie people like me, I really like this over the Note 2. And I mean, the photo quality is, I'm going to leave it up to you guys to decide. Alright guys, this has been my comparison between the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and the Google Nexus 4. I mean, bottom line, if I had to choose one, I would choose the Galaxy Note 2 just because it has better battery life. That's what my main concern on the Nexus 4. The ability to expand your storage is a really nice option, as well as 4G LTE across many of the carriers is enabled. With the Nexus 4, it's slower data speeds, especially on AT&T. It's not as fast as LTE. The battery life, but the price is really great on the Nexus 4. So let's say you're not eligible to get a Note 2 and you really want a new device. You can pick up the Nexus 4 for the same price as the Note 2 on contract, $300. Sure, you don't get as much memory, but you do get the latest Android software. There is no custom skin, so you get stock Android, as well as the updates come straight from Google, so they don't have to go through Samsung or AT&T or Verizon or Sprint. Everything just goes directly to the phone, and it's also a very great phone. Bottom line, even though the battery life is not the best, it's a solid Android phone with great specs like a quad-core processor, HD display. So you're not missing anything else other than the LTE compatibility. But the Note 2 is definitely a better phone. If the size is good for you, then definitely pick up the Note 2. You're going to love it. I personally love my Note 2. It's probably the hands down best Android device of the year. Well, thank you for watching this video. If you thought it was, please leave a comment down below and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll have more comparisons coming up soon. Thank you.